And the beautiful thing, I'm going to take a few seconds. Welcome, 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 welcome to Fit Live. I'm so excited to bring to you this amazing panel. Before we get started, I want to do a couple of maintenance things just to make sure that everything is up and running. And you guys can check too. I'm going to check social media just to make sure that we are broadcasting and things are on point. Technology is a beautiful thing. When it works, it's beautiful. And then when it doesn't work, well, it's beautiful, but it just doesn't work. So we got to get through it. So I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us this beautiful Friday. I know that you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to tune in with us in this important conversation that we're about to have. I have some powerhouses here today, and I'm feeling them and all the energy that they're bringing. We've been backstage having a great dialogue. But before that, I introduce them. The way that this is going to flow, I just want to set the stage. Hi, Jennifer Kinney. Jennifer Kinney. Mary says hello. So good to see you, Jenny. Thank you for joining us. We so appreciate you. I want to say to everybody that's out there, number one, grab a notepad, grab a pencil, a piece of paper, take notes. This town hall is coming to you to provide you with valuable information. The way that you capture that is by taking notes so that you can go back and apply some of the principles that have been shared with you. So please take notes. Secondly, share, tag, call someone else. Tell them to join us on this important dialogue talking about the future of Black women in technology. I have some of the most amazing, powerful queens that are on this call that are leading the way by example. And I'm just so excited to share that with you. So with that said, I just want to get into, my name is Sheryl Grant. I am with Sheryl Grant International. For those of you who know me, you know that I'm all about community. I'm all about uplifting the voices and the voices of Black women and women of color. I created this platform because it didn't exist. There are a lot of wonderful platforms out there that are really sharing valuable information. So I don't ever want to be a person that's demeaning anything on that's out there. But this platform is specifically designed so that women of color can see other women of color that are out there doing things. When I hear in the world about all the disparities, when I hear in the world about all the numbers and the things that are not working and why they're not working, in my world, in the world that I'm creating, I don't understand that, because when you look at this panel and you look at my world, and I bet when you tap into each of these individuals, they'll tell you there's an extension of us. It's a village. It's a tribe. It's not just us. It's a representation. So with that, I'm going to jump right into it. We're getting a lot of love already. I just want you all to know, Jenny, thank you too. We have Naima, who's basically saying thank you to all the panelists for speaking with us tonight. And I want to say to you that this is meant to be a dialogue, not a monologue. So we want you to engage with us as we move forward in this discussion. So we have 90 minutes. I know that sounds like a lot of time, but it really isn't. So I'm going to dive right in. Please do ask questions. So first and foremost, I want to welcome you to the SGI, Sheryl Grant International, Fit Town Hall. This is a digital forum designed to connect you directly with leaders in business, community, and thought leadership. So please ask questions, engage, take advantage of this one-of-a-kind experience. In this edition of our town hall, we will be with Karen Washington, Senior Director. Karen, give them some fingers so they know who you are. Please, let me see, make sure you're doing that. There you go. Karen is the Senior Director of Modern Workplace Advanced Communication Sales America at Microsoft. We have the one and only Mary Stutts. Mary, give them your hands. Corporate Board Director, Corporate Board Member, Corporate Executive, DEI and Inclusive Leadership Advisor at Stanford Healthcare, author, speaker, founder of TCEL and TCEL Virtual. We have the one and only, and all of these are one and only, Leah McGowen-Hare. VP of Trailblazer Community and Trailhead, I'm sorry, Leah, Evangelism at Salesforce. We have Kalina Bryant. Welcome, Kalina. Head of Customer Advocacy at Asana, Customer Advocacy Executive, founder of UnapologeTECH podcast and CX advisor and life coach. I am your host, Sheryl Grant, mentor, speaker, social entrepreneur, working to empower 50 million women and women of color worldwide. I'm the CEO of Sheryl Grant International. I'm the vice chair, proud to be, of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce and board member of the Giving Back Fund, and also CEO of Sheryl Grant International. Our mission at SGI is to bridge the gap between people of color and the resources that they need to thrive. We believe the landscape is changing. Capitalism, the me, my, and I, the individualism, the hoarding of wealth is being transitioned to community, mutual empowerment, support, and exchange of knowledge. We believe community currency in the C4 matrix is the power. And that starts with communication. That's what we're doing with you today, which builds collaboration, and collaboration builds community. That's why we created this town hall series. This town hall series is a format of question and answers with real individuals and entrepreneurs and corporate leaders from our community. We will cover 3 topics broken into up that we will 3 topics. The third will be broken into 2 parts. So let's kick this off, ladies. We're going to start with the state of the market, the future of Black women in technology. Here we will identify the state of current Black women in technology and discuss. That's my mother. I'm so sorry, you guys. She always calls me when I'm in my pocket. Discuss technology need to do to create equity in the workplace. This is our chance to discuss the cause and effect of our current position as a community and set the stage for discussion aimed at discovering new pathways to success. So with this question, Mary, I want to start off with you. And Mary Stutts is an executive and a board member with a track record of success in brand transformation for companies including Genentech, Bayer, Bristol Myers, Squibb, Comcast, NBC Universal, United Health Group, and Kaiser. Currently, she is the Senior Vice President of Corporate Relations for Samavant. And if I mispronounce that, Mary, you can help me. She was the first Chief Inclusion, Diversity, and Health Equity Officer for Stanford Healthcare. Mary's journey from a 5-year-old foster child to becoming one of the leading voices calling for inclusive leadership, health, equity, and diverse workforce is demonstrative of her passion for empowering others. Her book, The Missing Mentor, Women Advising Other Power, Progress, and Priorities, has been dubbed as a surrogate mentor for career women. Mary formed the Center of Excellence in Life, TCEL. It's a 501c3 organization focused on developing women, underrepresented youth, and aspiring professionals for leadership positions. TCEL's virtual internship program for underrepresented youth has received nationwide recognition and media coverage. She sits on the board of Zygenex and on the advisory boards of Willis Sloan Partners and Real Chemistry. Mary earned her master's degree in health administration at the University of Southern California and is a graduate of the executive program on organization and strategy at Stanford University Graduate School of Business. Welcome, Mary. Mary, thank you. So our question starts with you, Mary. And the question that I really want to ask is, they say that corporate America is like trying to break a glass ceiling. Mm-hmm. But Mary, for me, it really feels more like a brick wall. Mm-hmm. It feels like we're trying to dismantle the Great Wall of China, brick by brick. Mm-hmm. And for every brick that I have ever managed in my career or been able to take away, 2 more bricks have been placed in its place. Some say you have to keep taking bricks away until you see the light. Some say the only way is to take a sledgehammer and break the wall. My question to you, Mary, as the first Chief Inclusion, Diversity, and Health Equity Officer for Stanford Healthcare, you're no stranger to breaking barriers. What are your ideas on the glass ceiling, and what tools have you used to break it?
Thank you, Sheryl, and welcome. I'm so grateful to be here with my powerful panelists. I know we're going to have fun. We already were having fun before y'all even got on, so we were just letting y'all into the conversation. But I would say that probably, first of all, there is definitely a glass ceiling for people of color. There's a glass ceiling for women, but definitely people of color. I mean, as I've been doing a lot of my work around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and as I like to do what I call my listening tours and talking to people firsthand, the workforce. And, you know, this is what I hear so much from those employees is that, yes, we're a diverse organization, meaning we've hired a diverse workforce, but color stays at the bottom. So that means that you're not seeing the people of color advancing. And the glass ceiling actually varies by company. For some companies, the glass ceiling is the director level. For some, it's the VP level. For some, it might even be manager level. And I think for me, I found the first big glass ceiling was breaking through that director level. And then the next one was breaking the VP level. And one of the main tools that I use to break that glass ceiling, and everywhere I go, I try to tell people about it. In fact, I do workshops on it. It's all about having a development plan, a career development plan where you have put together a plan to say, here is where I want to be in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. If you're working at a startup, it might be, here's where I want to be in the next 6 months or a year. But the point is, if you don't know where you are going, how will you know when you've arrived? One. So for myself, I have that development plan so that I know what success looks like for me. And that way I can gauge whether I'm getting there or not. But more importantly than that, having a development plan and communicating it to your boss, to your company, to your network, lets people know where you want to go so that they ideally will think about you when if an opportunity presents itself. I would say the other thing that is so, and of course I could teach a whole course on that, but having that development plan on where you want to go. And for me, it was, I want to be a director. By this time, I want to be a VP by this time. And, you know, sometimes you may have to leave the company, right? For both of those big jumps to a global director, I had to leave one company and go to another. And then that big jump from senior director. So in other words, I got a job as a director, got promoted to senior director. I actually had to take a lateral to get to another director, but then I got promoted to senior director there. But they weren't doing the VP thing. And so I had to make a decision. Am I going to stay here? It was a great job, great company. I was making great money. But I made a mistake of telling my kids that I was going to be, you know, a senior vice president. So every other week at the dinner table, Mommy, you're vice president yet? Oh my God, now I got to go do something. I told these kids. But anyway, the point is that when I realized it was not going to happen at that company, I had to make a decision. And again, love the company, love the people, but I had to make that leap. So the other thing that's so important that I really have to encourage Black people, men and women, to do is to have some contacts with executive recruiters. The only way that I broke that glass ceiling into a director level was an executive recruiter, headhunter, whatever you want to call them, found me and I got connected to one through a colleague, actually my network in school. And then the next job, that led to the senior director role. It was an executive recruiter. And certainly for the VP level role, it was executive recruiters. All of my jobs from then on were executive recruiters who reached out to me. And I am on the advisory board of Sloan Partners. And one of the reasons I'm on that advisory board is because I want to make sure that I am feeding them the names of very skilled, capable African-American executives as well as women, because I'm just shocked how many very skilled, very talented, very educated Black people do not have one single executive recruiter in their network. So this sending the elevator back down to help others is something that we all have to do for each other.
Woo! Mary, thank you so much for that. That was powerful and impactful. I really appreciate everything that you said, especially with the development plan and having an executive recruiter. This time, I'd like for everybody to chime in, because I think this is where the conversation gets rich. This is where the conversation gets roots. So please, I can either call on you but I know I have some powerful A-type personalities here. So I know I'm not going to have to do that. So whoever wants to, please chime in. Please. Karen, Washington.
I mean, Mary has said it all. I was like, yep, check. She has checked so many boxes. The one thing I could add to what she said was she did kind of touch on, it's building your network. I think that is powerful, and it's being intentional about building that network, having mentors, having sponsors, knowing the difference between the two. And it's volunteering for cross-functional roles so that people that may not know you and are there, that they need your vote. So, cross-functional is always a good way to go. Building that network. Also, lastly, I'd like to add is becoming active in your ERGs, whatever ERG that is, that gets you great exposure as well.
Thank you, Karen. Leah McGowen, come on, girl, come on.
I was sitting up here taking notes, and I forgot I'm on the panel. I'm like, what she said. And then I was like, Mary could have her whole show. I was like, I'm going to sit up here and look cute and just smile and be like, yep.
Exactly. I love it.
Absolutely, Mary. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge. It's all gems, and so much of it resonated with me. Getting to that VP level in corporate America is no small feat. And it's so funny that, when you said your kids kept asking you, when you get into VP? Well, when I finally made it to VP, I came home and I told my daughter, who is not, she's a hard nut to crack. And I said, well, I got to vice president. And she was like, And I said, what's wrong? She looked really perplexed. She goes, well, who's the president? I'm like, okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Clearly, I got more work to do. But everything you said is so right. And I think one of so many lessons I learned in my journey in corporate America is, one, never, ever limiting the possibilities you have for yourself. I really started my journey thinking, this is what I was meant to do. I do it well. I'm meant to do this for the rest of my life. And at that time, it was a technical trainer, training developers how to build apps on our platform. That's what I had my master's in. I came from a family of educators. It was a perfect fit. I was excellent at my job. So I really believed that's where it was. And it took having mentors, advocates in my space that helped me see myself in a bigger vision than I saw for myself, right? And I always go back to that one episode or that one scene in the Hidden Figures, where Janelle Monáe was working on that engine, and the engineer she was working with was like, hey, there's an engineer role opening up. You should apply. And she was like, hello, I'm Black and female. He was like, but you have an engineer's mind. Like, you're an engineer. He saw her in a way that she didn't see herself. And sometimes it takes other people seeing your gifts and talents in a way that you may not see it, because we are so bombarded with how we're supposed to see ourselves. You're a woman, you're a mother, you're a wife, you only do this. And sometimes we subscribe to that. And sometimes, the universe sends you these guardian angels that help you open your eyes to things that you didn't think were possible for yourself. So it's always good to have people who have bigger visions that sometimes might see you doing things that you don't always see for yourself. And that's kind of what was the thing that jumped me into my next level in my career and made me step outside of the the classroom and move into more strategic roles and ultimately leading into an executive role. But everything you said, Mary, so on point. You've got to have a plan. I also had to learn, if you don't advocate for yourself, nobody else is going to advocate for you. If you have to talk clearly, do not, be meek with your words. You want to get to X, Y, you say, this is where I want to be. What is the plan for me to get there? How do we measure me getting there so that you and whoever your manager is on the same page? It's so very important. But those are some of the things I would add to what Mary was saying.
Well, Leah, you are spot on, and you guys are on fire like I knew you would be. But the bottom line is you're absolutely right. And Leah, especially surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals and understanding that we do sometimes have blinders, and we need other people to help guide us, not necessarily in a negative way, but let us see like where we don't see how we need to navigate. So some of the things that you're listening to today is an opportunity for you to expand who you are. Take these notes as opportunities for you to expand. So if you didn't know, now you do. And now you can make the corrections to create those relationships that are needed. I'm going to now turn it over to you, Miss Kalina. What would you like to add about the glass ceiling?
I was taking so many notes, but I would just add in, being young, to be honest with you, in tech, I started out right out of college and just climbing up and making sure people that are telling you should stay in this box, be persistent. Whenever I had someone saying, hey, Kalina, you're going to get there. Why don't you just focus on that? I would take that information and then not be satisfied. What I would do is write it down and say, but this is what I actually want. And so I just didn't stop, to be honest with you. So, being 28 on a panel with all of you all and making it to where I am at right now, people don't believe that that's possible, but it is. And it's possible with persistence. It's possible with writing it down, and it's possible with networking. I wouldn't be here without networking. I wouldn't be here without looking at my list constantly, knowing, okay, someone told you no, so what? What does that list say that you put down? And how do I find my yes? And I think that all the ladies have highlighted, making sure you're connected. I've had plenty of people tell me no, but those same people message my inbox saying, hey, Kalina, do you want to grab a coffee? Long time no see. But when I really needed help, I didn't get that support. But never giving up is the best advice that I can ever give. And just the persistence is, I wake up every day, I pray, I figure out what am I already good at? But I ask myself, what do I need to work on? Because my skill set needs to constantly evolve, like technology. Technology is constantly changing. And how do you stay innovative as a person and who you are? Because you're attractive, right? But how do you stay attractive? Developing those skills, staying persistent, understanding and humbling yourself too, knowing that you don't know everything. If I knew everything, what's the purpose of me being on this earth? I need to be able to be humble and learn, hey, this is an excellent person that instead of being envious, how about you be that person's friend so you can actually understand, where do I go from here? Here's my skill. Here's what I can share with you, but what can we share together so we're both successful?
Woo! Oh my God. Oh my God. What?
She brought it. She brought it. Yes, she did.
I'm on a panel with like superstars. I'm here shaking like, oh gosh, I hope I could say the right thing.
No.
Well, but and that's the part that is so critical, to cultivate your own voice.
Thank
and you just did an excellent job with that. But the only way you're going to cultivate your voice is you got to get out there and use it. So doing exactly what you did. Yeah, you're on this panel with us and you have the right to be here and you're holding your own. You do have a voice. You do have perspective. You do have dreams and goals. And that, that's the piece that also is just such key advice to women, all women, but certainly women of color. And I love, this is something that we say at How Women Lead, or another organization I work with, but be unabashedly visible. That means get out there, yes, network, but don't just network. Don't just show up and walk around and talk to people, stand in the corner and all that stuff. Get on a panel, introduce a speaker, be a moderator, something so that you are actually visible and you are putting yourself in those leadership positions where people see you as a leader or even as a convener, somebody who brings people together. That is just as powerful as a moderator who's facilitating meaningful conversations. There are so many ways to build that visibility and that presence and that voice for yourself. And that's something that I think we all need to work, not just for ourselves, but this next generation that's coming up too.
Well, I just want to know that I'm on fire. And right now, you know what? I'm sitting in my seat. I don't know to get up and dance or do the happy dance because it's so powerful, the conversation we're having. And the beautiful thing is, you know what? Kalina, until you said your age, did it really resonate with me? I didn't do that one purposely. I didn't, math. But how beautiful, because it transcends generations and how we can continue to give back or send the elevator down. I also want to say something so powerful that is resonating with me that I want to point out to the audience. One of my big things right now in life is we want to talk about, we always want to remember the history. Because if you don't remember the history, they say insanity is the definition of continuing to do the same thing, but expect different results. So we got to understand the history. Okay, so then we move into the reality of where we are, and that's, we're having the conversation. But what's powerful for me, without telling you guys, is that you are already pointing to the future. What's the solution? Because I get tired in everything that I hear in the media, everything I hear in conversation that is always talking about the problem. The problem, like my first lady says, it is what it is. But what are we going to do about it? And how are we going to move the agenda forward? And every one of you have started that dialogue right here without me even directing you. So amazing. Now we have some questions, and I want to make this interactive. And I know in Karen, Washington, I'm going to let you ask a question. But here goes the thing. I know you in Austin, Texas, and it's on a different time zone. And you know, we got 90 minutes, boo. And I want to to the script, boo. But you know what? It's so viable, this conversation, that I think I gotta let it breathe. I gotta let it do what it do. And we're gonna move to question 2 and we're gonna get to question 3. But I just want you guys to be aware. So Karen, ask the question, then I have somebody who's asking a question. So I want them to be able to chime in. Please go.
So mine is quick. I just wanted to say to Kalina, you know, when you mention your age, I think it's all about reverse mentorship, just as it is about mentorship. Reverse mentorship is powerful in itself. You guys are doing things in this generation that we didn't dream of doing. So I just wanted to mention that, honey, you are schooling us too. That's
absolutely. I mean, yeah,
that's the community.
I definitely, the younger generation that comes in that I work with and mentors, it was so funny because there was one of them I used to hang out with, go to lunch, whatever. And I just thought it was like we were hanging out, like, yeah, I'm one of her girls, right? She was like, you're like my mentor. I was like, oh, I thought I was just hanging with the young folk, right? Thinking I was one of them. And you realize this responsibility you have as you navigate, but they're still also teaching me. It is a very reciprocal relationship where I am learning and they are learning. So I always say, it doesn't matter whether you're 28, 10, 2, you always have something to offer. A lot of times people are like, I want to wait until I'm at this level, or I want to wait till I have this before I give back. I always tell people, listen, Beyonce did not start at Coachella, right? She started at the county fairs. Use the platform that you are given, and it becomes part of your journey, part of your DNA. So maybe you start off mentoring high school students. Then when you go up, you mentor different groups, but you always have something to give. There's power in your story. There's power in your voice. There's always space to give.
Awesome. So Leah, thank you for that. And I really appreciate that. I have a question because we have questions. I have, another 3 to go through, but I want to make sure that I don't lose them in the thread as they're coming in also. And so I have a question here, and anybody wants to take a stab at it, please do. It said, what are some of the suggestions for finding mentors and sponsors? How do you build a meaningful connection over LinkedIn or via Zoom, which is our new reality? Anybody want to take a stab at that?
Well, I would just start. So the mentoring piece is huge. And I would just say that there is no one perfect mentor. I want to make sure everybody understands that. There is no one perfect mentor, that you're going to have one mentor and that person is your mentor throughout your whole career. you actually are going to need a network of mentors over time. So that's one thing I want you to remember. But the other thing is to respect the mentor's availability. So when I first started speaking and doing all kind of on the speaking circuit, I used to have so many people, men and women, coming up to me saying, "Oh, would you mentor me? Would you mentor me?" And in those early days, I used to try to mentor them all. And then I realized I couldn't do it. So it's like, okay, that's why I'm going to write this book, The Mystic Mentor, tell them what I would tell them if I had time to tell them. But the thing that really struck me, and I try to emphasize this as much as possible when you're really looking to get a mentor, I was shocked at how many people, when I did say, yes, I will mentor you, showed up in my office, sat across from me and like, "I'm here, mentor me." They had no plan, no questions, no action, and they acted as if I had inordinate amounts of time to talk to them. So what I say to people now is if you are fortunate enough to get someone to say, "Yes, I will mentor you," you need to be prepared to get in and out in 15 minutes. 15 minutes, and then maybe you will get another 15 minutes. So that's one thing. Yes, with COVID, you're not getting the opportunity to meet with people face to face. My mentoring has not slowed down with COVID. In fact, it has increased because so many of these programs have sprung up now where you can schedule a virtual mentoring session and maximum is half an hour. But to do that, and the same thing applies, be prepared to make your point. Go be specific about what you're looking for.
You're breaking up, Mary.
Session only, not your whole life. This particular challenge that you're dealing with.
Mary.
And
you're breaking up, Mary. Can you hear me?
Session for the next question. You can also do that.
So Sheryl, you might have to mute her. I don't know.
Yeah, well, here goes the thing, guys. Yeah, unfortunately, Mary, we're losing you, and I don't know if you can hear me, and I don't want to remove her.
Send someone an email, but again, I should not have to schedule calendar time.
I could just, yeah, you did, but that's
better.
Okay. Yeah, you were breaking in and out, but that's okay. The gist of it, Mary, you were hitting that one out the park, because I think that, mentorship is a beautiful thing. And it's actually, when you look at corporate and you look at whether you're in corporate or you're an entrepreneur, there are three basic things that women are looking for. And especially for our younger generations. I've done an extensive study, and studies have been done. The number one thing is mentorship. The second thing is access to training and resources. And the third thing is access to low risk funding. But Mary, what you did was put some meat behind it, because a lot of times you want to be mentored, but you're looking for the person to do the work. What I want to say to everybody out there is that I really hate to break it to you this way. I really do, but nobody's coming to save you. You got to save yourself. If it's mental health that you're dealing with, go get help. If it's coaching you're needed, go get a coach. If it's whatever you need, you are going to have to find it within yourself to uplift yourself so that you can go get the help you need. All I can do is bring the panel to you. If they're giving you the tools of wisdom, this is digital mentorship happening real time. And if you're not taking the advice and you still show up at Mary or Leah or at Karen or Kalina's desk and ask for a mentor and you don't have a plan, how can they help you if you don't know what you want? I mean, at least have a direction, have an idea, have a thought process on where you want to go, because it's only up to you. So I just want to say that. And Mary, you dropped some wisdom. So what I'm going to do is, in lieu of time, because I really want to get through the questions. That's my Molly Ford. I love that girl right there. Molly Ford, I love you. She said, Mary is spot on. I do 25-minute virtual coffee meetings with employees that ask for mentoring. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? So
and she got a wait list because I'm on it.
Yeah, and me Leah, me too. Yeah, like Molly, where you at? Molly, can we talk? But here's the thing: be ready. And this platform is about getting you ready. What I'm doing is called FIT: faith, intuition, and tenacity. And it's the ability. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. Intuition is the eye. Trusting yourself. If you need a coach, I've seen several messages. I want Leah to coach me. I want Kalina to coach me. If your intuition is telling you something, why haven't you acted on it? It's been 2 years and you have not contacted Leah. I'm just saying. Somebody
There's a person in the chat.
I've been waiting 2 years, but all I'm saying to you is that life moves on. Yes. You're going to either take action or you're not. These are the tools. You got to apply them. You can tell me you want to lose weight, but until you go to the gym and start eating right, there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I can do. And that's all we're saying today. I'm going to move on to the next question because I really want to make sure that everything gets answered today. And there's a lot we have to cover. The next person that I'm going to be asking the question to is Kalina Bryant. Kalina, our youngest on the panel, queen, is the head of customer advocacy at Asana, founder of UnapologeTECH, and customer experience executive. Kalina Bryant is a customer advocacy executive, podcaster, writer, and a speaker in Silicon Valley. She is an accomplished customer advocacy and marketing executive with extensive experience with SaaS software companies. Currently, she leads the customer advocacy segment at Asana. She has a successful track record of building and leading global teams, developing customer advocacy programs and program management, marketing events, budget management, customer and executive relationships, and customer engagement processes. She has been recognized by Adobe as one of the 50 fearless marketers in the world. She is the founder again of UnapologeTECH and advisor of and a life coach in women tech. Kalina, my second question goes to you. And here we will get into the specific challenges that professionals face in our quickly changing landscape, the ways that they can effectively transition to the digital methods of managing and advancing their career. Kalina, I ask you, mentorship is a powerful tool. We've been talking about mentorship. We just went over it with Mary. But it's a powerful tool that we utilize as professionals to propel us to success in our careers. My thoughts and importance on relationship building are everything. Your network to me is your net worth. And I'd like to ask you, Kalina, what has mentorship meant to you on your journey to success? And what advice would you give young women in the audience who currently work in tech industry and want to take their careers to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot there, right? I'll start off with, I've been sharing this story more often now though, but I went to St. Mary's College of California over Moraga, and I was working nonstop, but also was a full-time student. And in that area, babysitting was a big thing. And I realized they call it La Miranda. And so I was getting these babysitting gigs, but the kids that I was babysitting for, their parents were like the vice presidents of these companies. And I realized that I was building these relationships and they trusted me. And so when it was time for me to graduate, I was figuring out my job layout, figuring out if I was going to go straight to grad school. But actually one of my babysitting parents came and they were like, "Are you going to graduate school?" And I was like, "Well, I'm going to take a year off, I think." They're like, "Do you want to work?" I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, we're going to figure it out." By the time I graduated, they had already connected me with a vice president of sales at Marketo. I had no idea Marketo had just went public. They were one of the best SaaS companies in the industry. Here I am, 2014, driving over the San Mateo Bridge. I was stressed out saying, I don't know if I want to drive over the bridge every day. It costs $5 at that time to get over the bridge. And I was like, every day, I was like, oh, that's expensive. So here I am getting in, interviewing. By the time I get back to my car, the recruiter calls me and say, I start on Monday. And I'm like, okay. And I actually debated if I wanted the job because of the bridge. And I took it. And so I walk in and I realize I'm on a sales floor with all Caucasian people, you know, fraternity clubs. They were just out and they were in a buddy system. I had no idea about this buddy system. Here I am, the only African American, just in general, on the whole sales floor, and the woman. And I had to figure out how to crunch numbers. I had to figure out how to pull in deals. And I was overwhelmed. But what I realized is there was other people that were willing to help me in other departments. And I found my group actually in the education department. It's funny you say it, Leah. One of my best mentors, she was the instructional designer at Marketo, and she was an African-American woman. I ran into her in the kitchen, and I hadn't seen another Black woman, and this was thousands and thousands of employees. I hadn't seen one. I was like, oh my gosh, there's one. And so I went up to her and I said, well, you know, I gave her my whole rundown and we became friends. It wasn't mentorship. It was more like, let's grab a coffee whenever we have 15 minutes. And that friendship of just 15 minutes, it wasn't just about like, where does my career go? Or like, what do I do? It was more as, how is your day going? And, you know, vice versa. And it became a conversation and it became a relationship that we both respected and we both admired. And over time, I realized that that was the way that I was going to make it in the tech industry, figuring out how to connect with people and not all the way just ask them for something, but understand what can I give you that would be beneficial, regardless of age or where they are. Most of my connections were people that were vice presidents, and I was so junior at that time. And I realized how to take notes and how to figure out how to keep myself close to the money really with an organization. And I realized that if I got on projects that were customer focused, and if I can nurture and do all the data and do their processes, I was starting to get pulled into more rooms and more meetings. And when I wasn't in the meeting, I realized that my name was starting to get brought up because people relied on me. And so even though I couldn't be the executive overnight, I became the coordinator. I became the manager. All of a sudden, I wasn't thinking about senior manager roles. People were putting me up there for them because they could vouch for me. And then it became, oh, Kalina, director could be good for you. Let me show you what you should work on. And so a lot of these relationships and a lot of my opportunities came from not asking, but figuring out how can I be of assistance. And then figuring out how can I have just a friendly relationship with you, where when you see my face, you're not like, oh crap, what does she want? But it's more like, hey, Kalina always asks me about my day. Kalina knows my kids. Kalina knows that I have coffee at this time and we chat about sports. Before you know it, those individuals give you their cell phone numbers and they're okay with you texting them and they're okay with having lunch. So I would say the moral of the story is, never knock the situations that you're in and never knock the grunt role that you might have. You have no idea who you're connecting to at that time. And some things that I'm realizing right now is enjoy the moment that you're in and enjoy who you're around. And also never burn bridges. Just you're not gonna get along with everybody. I think that you should accept that right now, but it doesn't mean that you can't be friendly with people in a room. And when they meet you, and even if you're not going to be buddy having a cocktail at the end of the day, at least when you walk in a room, have them respect you and have them feel warm, at least if they have to be around you. Never burn a bridge, because the valley is small, SaaS is small, and I guarantee you're going to come across that same person. So make sure that you can hold yourself up and be accountable and think before you speak.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, amen. We got the youngest one on the panel and she's killing it.
Spitting game.
Break that down. She broke that down in baby steps. Okay, right now we gonna take a pause. If you're in the audience right now and you haven't tagged a friend, shame on you. Knowledge is power. Sharing is caring. This is nothing more about, the more we get it to the masses, the more opportunities for others to really get it. My platform is all about digital mentorship. You can't get it no better than this right now. Kalina, Queen Kalina, thank you so much for that. That was words of wisdom beyond measure. And you hit so many things. You guys are going to have to help me out with this, Queens, because it was so much. But there's two things that resonated with me. One, don't burn bridges. And two is being of service. I'm a firm believer. I'm spiritual. I believe in the word. That's just who I am and how I rock. I don't knock where you are, but I'm just going to profess where I am. And I was reading the other day, Kalina, in the Bible, and it was speaking of, everybody wants to be the leader. Everybody wants to be at the top. And the Bible is speaking that the power comes from those that serve. Because in service, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And it's like one of the most powerful things you said was, people think that networking is about getting something.
Mm-hmm.
Bump that myth. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's about giving.
Mm-hmm.
What are you bringing to the table? You're always looking for something, but what are you giving?
Yes.
That right there to me was everything that you said. Ladies, I need you to chime in. Go, Leah.
Absolutely. When she was speaking, it reminded me when I heard President Obama speak, and he spoke at an event I was at, and he said, there's really two things that people need to remember. Be someone that people enjoy working with and add value. And how I heard that was be kind and add value. So I always tell people are often like, oh, Leah, you're on a lot of stages or you do this. But what people don't know is I make a point of being good at what I do, like a master of whatever it is I'm in charge of. So whether it was training software developers how to build, I knew that software as well as I could possibly knew. I built it, I debugged it, all of that so that I could speak authentically to it. So I often tell people, don't get caught up in the glim and the glam. Understand, what do you know? What is the value you bring? And really, when you focus on bringing value, everything else falls in place. And the other part, just be kind. It's not that simple. It is not laborious. Be kind. It really is not hard.
Yes.
Thank you, Leah. Leah, thank you. Thank you. And being kind is everything, Leah. One of the things that I firmly believe is that we go through things, whatever it is that you go through. But a lot of our life's journey is when we run into an obstacle, we want to blame the other person. When we run into an obstacle, we want to look at the obstacle, that the obstacle's a problem. It's your perception. The obstacle is just an opportunity for you to grow. The very thing that's in front of you is a gift. And a lot of times we can't look at it as a gift because it feels like it's personalized and we make it about us. Be careful in that mindset, because what you tend to do is that mindset will take you down a path that doesn't empower you, and it will build on itself. And before you know, you'll have baggage that you've been carrying around with you, and you bring it into every other conversation that you have. So be careful. Everything is an opportunity for you to grow and learn. And if you come from it from that perspective, you'll always step into it more powerful. Karen Washington, go.
Well, I mean, the youngin said it best. And Leah just topped right on top of it. But I will say, when you talk about being kind, we say treat the janitor like you treat the CEO. That's so true. We just have to be nice to people because we never know where they're going to end up and who you're going to be working for. So definitely agree with that. A couple of things I wanted to add on is, for the younger folks is, use LinkedIn and Snapchat, social media, all of your avenues to speak about your interest and what you love. And also, your white papers, make sure you are showcasing all of your talents and everything that you're doing. Also, start a blog. If you are good at, coding, then maybe you want to start a coding blog. So those are all things that you can do, but definitely agree with everything that was said. And, talk about burning bridges. I mean, it's easier said than done, but I will say sometimes you have to go back to that bridge. An apology can be your best friend. Repair relationships, invest in those relationships because it is important.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say to the audience, did I not pick the right team? Did I not pick the right individuals to provide you with the tools that you need and resources? That's what we're all about here. And if you're not getting it, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. But I want to say it's so powerful. And Mary, you're next, babe. I need to hear from you. I need to hear from you.
I just echo everything that everybody has said. And so I won't go back and repeat any of that. I do believe that when you talk about networking, reciprocity is very important. Be reciprocal. Somebody helps you, even if they don't help you first, always be on the lookout for how you can help people. So I think that giving and the receiving is critical. But I want to go back to something that Kalina said at the very beginning, which is when she showed up at this job and found herself in a sea of white, a black face in the sea of white faces and all male faces. That's how biotech was for me when I first started in biotech. I'll never forget going to the first the international conference in some country. I don't even know where we were, but I got great pleasure out of the men having to dance with each other because there just weren't enough women there because we just weren't in the industry. But what I applaud you for making sure that you reached out when you did see that black face. That's one thing. But I also, the fact that you didn't give up, you didn't, shrink back, you didn't hide, you didn't lose your confidence because you were in this room. And that to me is such an important thing that we have to reiterate to everybody, because as much as we are diversifying the workforce and all these things are happening, Black people are still a minority in companies and especially in tech. So you are going to still find yourselves in situations where you're the only one in the room. And my thing is to stand in your confidence and your power and who you are. Find that network internally. And you know what? It might be some of the white people who are in there. Don't shrink back. It's sad, but they're more afraid of you than you are of them. So you may just have to go and reach out to somebody that maybe is working on something that you really like, or you heard them present something and it resonated and you want to ask them about it. Make those, and I'm sure you probably did, but I'm just in general, make those gestures. Don't hang back. But the biggest thing that I want to emphasize about that, when you find you are the only one in the room, do not adopt the fake it till you make it mindset. Now, if you've ever heard me talk, I have serious issues with fake it till you make it. I do not get up every morning and look in the mirror and say, come on, girl, now you got to fake it till you make it. What kind of confidence is that? You already hit yourself. It's a strike against you mentally because you think you're a fake. So I get up in the morning and look at myself after I do my little praise dance and all that. It's like, girl, come on now. You're the real deal. Let's go do this. And that's what we all need to. You're the real deal. You're not a fake. You wouldn't be here if you were fake. You wouldn't be tuned into us if you were fake. You're an authentic, real deal professional that's about it and that's ready to take it to the next level. So let's always keep that. I don't care if you are the only one in the room. You are authentically in that room and you deserve to be there.
Oh my God, Mary. You just brought that home. Mary, one of the things that you spoke about, and I think we kind of gingerly, and oh my God, you guys, we're live, and I just see my battery is going out. We can't have that happen live. I'm sorry, I got caught in my wheel. But Mary, you were just saying, bear with me, y'all, bear with me. You were just speaking about not faking it till you make it. And the thing that I want to say to you are walking into the room and you're the only one. Here goes the thing, Mary. I work with a lot of millennials. I work with a lot of young girls, and they feel that they're in this toxic environment that they can't speak up. They feel muffled. And I love when you just spoke about don't fake it till you make it, because for me, I have advice for them, and I would love to get each of your input, or anybody who wants to chime in, because I'm about that mindset too. If you're in a toxic relationship, I don't care where it is. If it's a job, if it's in a personal relationship, a family member, an intimate relationship, you should never subject yourself to any kind of abuse, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or physically. The answer is no. What do you say to these individuals that are in the environments where it's not, the diversity is not there's no inclusion. It doesn't exist, and you're trying to carry the weight of being the Black woman in the room and speaking on every social justice issue out there, and you're one person that can't possibly carry that weight. What do you say?
So there's two things. One of the things that you're seeing happening a lot in the whole diversity, equity, and inclusion space is this whole concept of being an upstander. So it's sad to see the amounts of acts of exclusion that are happening. In fact, that's my new book, Recurring Themes of Exclusion in the Workplace. So there is so much happening where people are being excluded, especially Black and brown people, and to a certain extent, women still being excluded. But this whole concept, when you see these types of microaggressions happening, speak up and say something. Be an upstander. Now, that may be advice more to white people than it is to Black people, but nevertheless, this whole concept of being an upstander and speaking up when you say something, when you see something happening and someone who's not allowed to be heard, who's being disrespected. The very definition of inclusion is when you ask, are people included? That means, do you feel valued, celebrated, respected, have access to the same opportunities as everyone else, and are treated the same or fairly versus being treated differently than everyone else. So that's what your definition is when you look at that workplace. And then it's important for you to speak up and stand your ground. And there is way more tolerance for that now, probably than when we first started the workforce, where you kind of couldn't say anything, but now you can. So I have this wonderful example of something that happened at one of the companies where I work. And one of my colleagues was sharing with me as we were doing this work in the inclusion space. And in her group, she was the only African-American woman there. And there was a man there who was kind of like one of the supervisors, leaders there, a director level person. And she noticed that every time a new employee was brought on board, they had a new employee come in, and he went around and introduced that new employee to everyone on the floor, because they were all in kind of these cubicles, but not to her. And so after everybody, had gone back to their desk at the opportune time, she didn't go off on him, in front of everybody, but she went over to him quietly and said, I noticed you have a new employee who has started. That's great. Congratulations. I would like to meet your new employee too. It's okay for you to introduce that person to me, just as you introduce them to everyone else. And you know what? He never did that again. So there's a way, but you cannot be quiet. And that's the thing that I'm finding, why the microaggressions have gotten worse over the years. When I started working on diversity, I was at Kaiser under Bernard Tyson, bless his soul. He was my boss. He was amazing. And he wasn't the CEO then, he was an SVP, but he helped roll out this whole concept of diversity. So this is where they first introduced the concept of talking about diversity versus anti-discrimination and racism and all that, but to really highlight the value of diversity and emphasizing that everybody is diverse, whether you're German or African American or Asian Pacific or Latino, we're all diverse. And we need to celebrate that diversity. Well, what has happened for whatever reason over the years since we introduced that in the 90s is that discrimination and racism and all of these things have crept back in to the workplace and to the vocabulary, where you have to use these words now because that's what it is. And so we're even to say inclusion and being inclusive, we definitely need to define that and focus on it, but we cannot ignore the fact that there is just blatant racism and discrimination that is happening, and people of color not being promoted. Women, look at the She session that we're in now. 5.3 million women, most of them Black and Latino, have left the workforce since the pandemic because they're in these jobs where they cannot work at home with computers. They are the essential employees, and we're losing so much ground. We've got to build that back in. But the point is that we have to be able to speak up and have the courage to speak up and to say something and to hold our ground and draw attention to these things, unlike people who are at these companies where they've been suffering in silence for years because these things were happening and they were afraid to say anything because they were afraid they were going to lose their job.
Retaliation.
And they did say something to try to file a complaint. They didn't get any love from human resources. All the support was with the manager. So we are in a time period now where that is shifting. But in order for that shift to go fully into effect, people have to speak up when they are experiencing these types of microaggressions and insults and acts of exclusion.
Well, I absolutely love everything you just said, Mary. There wasn't nothing that you just said that did not resonate with me. And I hope it's resonating with everybody out there. I want to say to you again, while we're having a conversation within a conversation, I need for you to chime in. This is your opportunity. We are here to have a dialogue, not a monologue. And the only way that that can occur is for you to chime in and ask these queens questions. If you have questions, ask. Please ask. That's what this platform is about. It's about mentoring you. Mentorship takes place because it's a two-way conversation. We're both engaging with you and you with us. We have a set forum and we're asking the questions, or setting the pace, if you will, but we need you to engage. And I just want to say with that, Mary, you really did speak a lot. I think you took that one home, hon. Does anybody else have anything they want to add on anything that Mary just said? Nobody wants to add anything? Okay, you know what? I'm okay with that. Jennifer Kinney said, word. Can I tell y'all something?
I do too.
I love Jennifer Kinney.
Jennifer is amazing.
To work under her leadership as executive director for the Global Women Leadership Network, where we brought over 22 women from 20 countries, Jen, I think it was, around the globe, to educate and empower them. And Jennifer is not a leader. Jennifer is from the United States. We're not talking about her, but I just need to use her as an example. She is from the Europe, but
Ireland,
but her principles and who she is, just believes in no nonsense and common sense. And as a leader, to have someone who doesn't look like me, that's not of my complexion, that really truly gets issues that I face. Like I didn't have to make up things for Jen. Jen got it, but she's there behind me every step of the way. And having that, Jen, I'll forever love you. I will forever be gracious to you. You are amazing. So let me just say that out loud, an amazing leader.
Let me just say, I got to do my Jennifer Kinney shout out too. So I first met Jennifer Kinney when I went with How Women Lead to Cuba. And Julie Abrams led a delegation of women to Cuba to study. I was like an educational delegation to study women entrepreneurs in Cuba and to support them. Jennifer and I ended up being roommates. So we call ourselves roomie the whole 14 days, however long we were in Cuba. It was amazing. But two more things. Jennifer was one of the first people to sign up for my virtual internship with the underrepresented youth from around the country. She was amazing as one of the master panelists with these young folks. We had over 84 kids from around the country, all diversities. And she was amazing and became one of the first sponsors. She and her husband, after she did it just as a volunteer, just all I wanted her to do was just be a panelist. She was so moved by experiencing these kids and being able to sow into their lives that she gave us funding so that we can have the next cohort this summer. And let me just tell you, my inclusive leadership workshop that I curated at Stanford, Jennifer was one of the faculty on my program, and she did amazing, talking about the value of gender balance. She is amazing. She is a bad sister, even though she's a sister from another mother.
She is that. She is that. So Jen, you already know. We love you. We think you're amazing, and so glad that you chimed in the conversation. It's very important that this conversation be an inclusive conversation. We want all voices, and Jennifer, you just showing up here tonight just means the world to me. So listen, if there's no more conversation, then I'm going to move to the next question, which actually is going to be starting with you, Miss Karen Washington. And that question I'm going to first introduce to you. Karen Washington is energetic, results-driven, and passionate about community and outreach. With a proven track record of progressive responsibility and hey, Sheryl, work on your words, demonstrated successes in the automotive, wireless, telecommunications, and technology industry for over 20 years. She is currently Microsoft's newly appointed Senior Director, responsible for US and Canada for modern work advanced communication technology and sales. Before joining Microsoft, Karen spent 6 years with Dell Technologies as Regional Sales Director for Dell Technologies Client Solutions Group, West Region, and VMware Healthcare Sales, where she saw consistent year-over-year revenue growth, which resulted in her being named Sales Leader of the Year. Before joining Dell, Karen achieved noted management success, starting with General Motors as a product and engineer manager for quality and reliability, electric vehicle, artificial intelligence, body and white and mid-sized truck organizations. When Motorola needed a strategic team to contribute the development of launch of OnStar telematics systems, Karen capitalized on the opportunity, moving to Motorola and later joining its mobile devices team, where her team was named one of the best markets in the company. I can go on and on about Karen's background, who she is, but what I want to say is Karen, when I came up with the idea of doing Black women in technology, Karen was one of the first people that I went to. And that was literally almost over a year ago. So this has been in the making for over a year. And having the dialogue, I just bounced off with her what I wanted to do. And that was a year ago. This was before COVID happened. This was before, and I just knew it was a necessary conversation. Now, fast forward, the time is right. Everything happens not before, not after, but just when it's supposed to, and the time is now. So, Karen, I thank you for being here today with me on this journey as we complete it. So my question for you, Karen, really has to do, is question number 3. That's going to be broken into 2 parts. Leah will answer the second question. But my platform is about being fit, and fit with community currency. FIT standing for faith, intuition, and tenacity. Our larger goal here at Sheryl Grant International is to create a continual dialogue between corporate leaders and industry leaders, collaborating to create new community-based solutions to our common challenges. Here, we will discuss community-based solutions to common problems. This is our chance to really think outside of the box and look for new ways for entrepreneurs and corporate leaders to leverage the power of community to help their businesses thrive. So my question to you, Karen, is, here at SGI, we believe in being fit for business, which is a mental construct and how you navigate corporate or entrepreneurial world. We focus on mental fitness as a tool to achieve your goals. Karen, when you talked about in your bio that you believe in balance for high performance, can you tell me what that means and how balance has factored into your success in corporate America and beyond?
Yes, I can. So when you talk about, Sheryl, when you first talked about community currency, first of all, let me say that next time I need to send you my shorter bio. But when you talked about community currency and what that means, I thought, wow, this is huge. We could have one show. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We could have a whole show on community currency and what it means today, especially today when we are going through so much racial adversity in the world, with the recent events in the Asian community and Black Lives Matter. For me, I think community currency, as we live in a capitalistic society, and Sheryl, we talked about some of this, the power is in the community. There's strength in numbers, and we saw that with the last election. I'm not going to take this to politics, but it took a village to get that done. And so to say all this, when we shine bright, we're great. But when we all shine together, baby, that's when we can light up the world. We can no longer afford to be these crabs in a barrel and thinking that only one person in the room can win. We got to start elevating, motivating, and my favorite word, we got to inspire each other. So you can be part of many communities. So maybe that's advocating for women in tech like we're doing today. Maybe it's advocating for human trafficking, or maybe it's your company's ERG, or maybe even Girl Scouts, Black Girls Who Code. I mean, the list is endless. The more you get involved in your community and you make a difference, that causes impact, which causes what? Change. So it's so nice to have so many women in my circle that will advocate for me. So my mentor once told me, and this stuck with me, that congrats on your promotion, Karen, that's great. But guess what? Who are you taking up with you? Who are you mentoring? Who are you elevating? And that is how I have lived my whole career. Who else can I take with me? Who can I help? Balance for high performance and success is all about helping others. So you have your family, you have your job, we've got our hobbies, but you also have to find ways to give back and make a difference in the world. Because what we want to do is we want to live this planet better than we found it. So we got some work to do. And I'm so excited to be on the panel with all four of these dynamic women. I love mentoring women, and I love also being mentored, because you are never too seasoned in your career to learn something. It's my honor, it's my pleasure, and guess what? It's my responsibility to give young folks the knowledge that I wish I had at their age. Wow, Kalima. Also, understand your career seasons. So maybe you have young children, or you're taking care of your parents, and you can't be the globe, jet setter, and you can't take a job that allows you to travel, or maybe you're not aspiring to be a VP. That's okay. You have to know your season for growth. You have to take a role that works for you. I am most balanced when I allow myself permission to take breaks. And you guys know I love my vacations. I go on vacation, I take breaks. Permission to say no. I cannot do it all. I'm doing this panel tonight because I love Sheryl, but it's 8:13 my time. I'm tired. I worked all day. I've been up since 5 a.m. But sometimes you have to say no. And also, whatever you do, make sure it aligns to your success equation, because everybody's success equation is different. For instance, a title isn't always mean success, because we all know that all titles aren't made equally. A VP at one company may be a manager at another. So you can't always say that it's about a title. You need to determine what success looks like for you, and nobody else can do that. You need to own your own career. I know we talked a lot about that. You own your career. Nobody else does it. You need a vision. You need a plan. So in my career, I've done a lot of lateral moves, and it's worked for me because I've grown and I've learned. I've taken some pivots. I went from engineering at General Motors to a sales role because I was in the right place at the right time. It was timing. And when you talk about being authentic, somebody said, well, gosh, you're really good at communicating. You like to talk, and we put you in front of the customer and you were so dynamic. Are you sure you don't want to go into sales? And my thing was, no, I'm an engineer. But the person said to me, guess what? You're still going to be an engineer. You have an engineering degree. So nobody could take that from me. And that's how I got into sales and loved sales and have been in sales ever since, because it's my passion. I'm still an engineer. I'm working on technical products. So determine what success looks like for you. Also, my mom, she passed away a couple years ago, and I had to pivot. I had to change out of a sales role and get into a different role so that I didn't have to travel and I could be there for her in her final hours. And one thing that she said to me, and I think about it so many times, guys, is she said, I just want you to be happy. And I had to look myself in the mirror and say, what makes Karen happy? And that's my family. And that's doing what I love. When you're at the end of your rope, you are not going to be thinking about your coworkers. You're going to be thinking about your family. So that is what balance is for me. And I want to leave you guys with 3 things in the realm of possibility. A, get active in your community and be intentional about uplifting someone. Care about people. Choose somebody today and say, I'm going to make sure they're successful. I'm going to help them. If you see that they're failing at something, don't just talk about them, help them. Number 2, define your goals and what success looks like for you, your vision, your commitment, your plan, and execute. Be excellent. Hold yourself accountable. Nobody's perfect, not even me. We all make mistakes. Everybody has made mistakes. It's all about perspective and what you learn from those mistakes and how you grew from those mistakes. And also lead with optimism. I'm telling you right now, positive is always better than negative Nancy. Be the positive person, be the light. Also, uncomfortable and average equals what? Comfortable. I'll mess that up. Okay, remember, excellence equals uncomfortable and average equals comfortable. So get uncomfortable. And I work for Microsoft, so I'm gonna, say that Microsoft is definitely a learn-it-all culture and not a know-it-all culture. And that's just a key principle. Just learn all the time. I always want to learn and grow. I'm about to take a Microsoft 900 certification. I just became a sommelier for wine. Whatever it is for you, just keep growing. And then the last thing is balance your life. Family first. Eliminate all those activities and obstacles and haters in your life. Let's get all the positive energy on the plane with us on our way up. So that's it.
Oh my God, I'm going to write a whole TV show just for Karen Washington. Oh my God.
Karen, can I just say, I filled my whole page up with you talking. Thank you. I needed that.
Karen, I was too busy. I wanted to write, but I wanted to stay engaged because I was fearing if I was going to write, I was going to miss something or something was going to happen. That was so powerful. And I don't know, the audience, you're out there listening. Is this resonating with you? Are you getting something from this? Are we just talking? Are you hearing us? Are you hearing what we're saying? And if you are, please talk to me. I will talk back. But I need to know the silence is not working for me. It's not. What she just said was so powerful. And especially about currency. And, one of my favorite of all times, there's a lot of them, but my favorite is Harriet Tubman. And the reason why I love Harriet so much is because, especially during her time, like we have issues right now dealing with this racial pandemic, hands down. We've been having them for the last 400 years. It's nothing new. This is not a new experience for us. But with Harriet in her time, she didn't let that stop her from her destination and goal. But the beautiful thing about her is that she could have got there and stayed, but she went back. And she went back multiple times to save thousands. She said, I would have went back more if only they would have known they were slaves. What's your mentality? How are you moving forward? How are you taking these gems? Because I know for me, the stuff that they're saying I live by, but it's like rejuvenation for me. So please, I need y'all to chime in. I need you to chime in. I need you to chime in. Give me 1 minute. Mary.
I have something I want to close with, but I actually am waiting to hear Leah's answer to the questions. But I have a point I want to make when we close.
Okay, Leah, did you want to go into Karen? I put everybody on mute because there was some noise.
Feedback. Yeah, there was feedback. Yeah. She's still mute.
She's on mute. Can you unmute her?
Yeah. Oh, Leah, let me unmute you. Hold on. I'm sorry, Leah. Let me unmute you. I got power, y'all. Hold on. Go, Leah. Go, Leah.
No.
How about now?
Yeah.
Like I was waiting to the question you were going to ask me, so I'll.
You're just gonna wait. Okay, we can dive into it. You want to go to the next part?
I don't know because I know you have 10 minutes left. So however you want to use the time.
Okay,
Leah.
Okay, Leah, I'm gonna go. So ladies and gentlemen, this is our last question, and it's gonna be given to us by Leah McGowan, and I want to do Leah's bio here.
Oh, you don't need to do my bio.
Yes, I am. Don't tell me to do, Leah. You're not the boss of me, Leah. No, Leah, I have to, because everybody needs to know. I know who you are, but the whole world doesn't. So anyway, I just like saying Leah and I go way back. So she's okay with me. Here goes Leah. Leah McGowan, MSc VP. Leah McGowen-Hare, VP of Trailblazer Community and Engagement at Salesforce, is passionate about making learning accessible and empowering everyone to have a career in technology. Leah is an accomplished and dynamic master technical trainer for Salesforce with over 20 years of experience in technology, mastering a variety of roles, including consultant, software developer, manager, curriculum developer, and technical trainer. Leah is one of the brains behind Be a Multiplier, a program that inspires people to be multipliers that will amplify and encourage their communities to skill up for the jobs of today and tomorrow using Trailhead, Salesforce free online learning system. She uses her knowledge and experience to demystify and make technology more accessible to youth, girls, communities of color, and veterans through organizations such as Black Girls Code, Hidden Genius Project, Girls Who Code, and Trailhead Military. Leah has also published a children's book, Charlie the Hot Dog. Leah is married to Shane Hare and has 3 children. She enjoys working out and traveling with her family. Leah, the question that I want to welcome and thank you for being a part of this panel discussion. Your question comes as a second part of the question around fit with community currency. And I often say that capitalism is community. This is a great conversation. Getting fit and connecting the dots is about learning to use community to support and uplift one another towards our shared goal. And Leah, you are a trailblazer at Salesforce, developing community and education for professionals across the globe. What does community currency mean to you in your current role? And how can we leverage it to address the low rates of women, especially Black women in tech?
That's a heavy question. And I got a few minutes. So thank you, one, for having me, and just honored to be amongst these amazing women with such great experience. So I do lead up the Trailblazer community at Salesforce. And I have to tell you, I didn't understand the concept of community until I worked at Salesforce and understood that, these customers, and some weren't even customers, some were just people who really enjoyed our software, our product, were getting together, having meetups to talk about our products, to talk about how do you build on these products. And so this community, community organically started to grow. And I saw how Salesforce nurtured this community to help, completely evangelize the Salesforce products. And it was from a place of really loving and being empowered by the knowledge in this product. So what I learned here is watching a community organically blossom into something that became sort of Salesforce's secret sauce. Our trailblazers are the amazing secret sauce to Salesforce and a lot of their success. They are the ones who are out there, giving the praises to a lot of our products. But even beyond the products, the community has become this place where people can come and say, I want to learn about Salesforce. I want to learn about this technology. And they have this community that is automatically rooting for them. That's like, hey, I can help you become a certified admin. I can help you become a developer. I can help you on this track to architect. Like, they are authentically rooting for one another. And Salesforce enables this with many of our different programs, even for the fact that we give access to our technology for free. Anybody could log on today, go to trailhead.com and learn our technology for free. So the technology is one thing, but the community is the separate thing that helps bring it all together and really is a place about uplifting one another. So I think one of the things that is really important about community, and it would be three things I would think. One, lift as you climb. And you've heard this theme throughout the evening is, as you are growing in your career, whatever it may be, how are you lifting as you climb? Within our community, people are always looking for ways to give back, even if they're learning for themselves. They're like, hey, I took this course, or I did this, or hey, connect with this organization, Pathfinders or Pep Up Tech. They'll help you learn this software and help you get your first job in the tech field. Because I think often technology is very overwhelming and people think, oh, I'm not a coder, I can't get a career in tech. There are so many careers in tech, and you can actually build full-on apps without having to code. You could do that point and click. But a lot of times people are really fearful, like they don't think they can do it. They don't know how they can do it. But when you have community there saying, no, let me show you, that's a myth. I will show you how to do this. So, you have a community that is learning themselves, but they're still pulling people along, lifting as they climb. Two, always be a continuous learner. Always look to learn. That was another theme you heard throughout the night. You always can learn. There's always something to learn. Always keep your mind growing. And as you grow, you're creating space for new opportunities because you're now moving in a new space. One of my own personal stories in that area is I graduated a couple months ago from a class I took called Black Ventures Institute, which talked about venture capitalism. How does that work? Funding, angel investors. What is that whole level? I knew about those things, but I didn't fully know, but I had that knowledge. And so I was now equipped with that knowledge because I was constantly learning. It was a lot of work to go to work full time and still go to this class and take care of the family while in a pandemic. But I constantly learned. And while learning, and I created this amazing community with the Black Ventures Institute folks that led me to my first investment. Like, I would have never thought I'm an investor. Wow. So always stay continuously learning. And third, another theme you heard, and I'm just reiterating a lot of the themes you heard, is having a vision for yourself. And how community can help you with that is, a lot of times you limit the way you might see yourself or opportunities you might think are applicable to you because of the circles you keep. But if you expand your community to areas and spaces and things that you never thought you would do, your vision begins to grow. And I always tell people, have a vision for yourself or somebody else will have one for you. And it may not always serve you best, right? So, always stay learning, continuous learning, have a vision for yourself and lift as you climb. And all of that can be done within the context of community. And actually, you need community to do a lot of these things. You can do it on your own, but it's a lot harder to do it on your own. Reach out. There's always community. People really do want you to succeed in whatever way that is.
Oh my God. Leah McGowen. You can boss me. You could be the boss of me.
Yeah. You the boss.
You can be the boss of me. You are amazing. And you guys, one thing I want to hold true, we're like on the hour, and I like the engagement, but one of the things, Leah, I don't think I could put a ribbon on icing is already on the cake. I guess I can get a cherry and put it on top, but I think there's already one. You really sealed that. And everybody here gave not only the conceptual idea of how you get to where you're going, but you gave specific steps that people can take to get there. And for that, I appreciate you. But that's what you have when you deal with women And especially every one of these women are powerhouses in their own right. And they're also, I say to corporate America that's listening, that my platform is really created to showcase the talents. You guys are within corporate structure. There's a lot of individuals out there that are not, and I'm bringing on board to show you that when you say you can't find them, I just want you to know it's not true, because you can come to Sheryl Grant and I will connect you. We had several people that chimed in that are a part of my millennials. I got over 100 girls that I'm working with, and they are just amazing. And they've been chiming in the dialogue and the discussion. Jazz, I saw you. I saw you, Jazz. And I know that you're being mentored not only by me. This is how bad she is. She has me and Karen, and has been having us for a long while, and just got a promotion where she's going to be leaving one company, going to the other. I won't tell all your business, but I want to wrap it up. And this is what I'd like to wrap it up with. I'd like for each of you, because this has been so powerful for me, and I want to thank you first for just trusting me and going on this journey with me. I love each and every one of you, and I'm not letting go of you. I have a digital mentorship platform. You guys have all signed up for it. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And then with that said, Karen's like, did I do that? Yes, you did. Don't worry, you did. And Leah, yeah, Kalini, you did. And Mary, you did. It's so beautiful. I love you both, all of you. But here's the thing I want to do. This is how I want to wrap this up. We're going to send you on your way. Give me a few more seconds, Karen, Washington. I want you one each just to give one. We've talked about so much. Leah, you did a summary for me. I don't need to do it. But I just want you to, if you can give one person one piece of advice, just one, what would it be? And I really want to start with you, Mary. And less than 30 seconds, because Karen want to go to bed, I think.
Oh, you're muted. Unmute her, Sheryl.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm into. Thank you, Kalini. Thank you, Kalina. Mary, can you talk? I just unmuted you. Wait a minute.
Muted me back.
Okay,
I'm unmuted now. Okay. My one thing is engage your spirit. Life comes at us too hard, too fast sometimes. And the only way you're going to survive and not quit is to engage your spirit.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. Kalina, the youngest one.
Yeah. I would just say live in the moment and appreciate where you are. Because young or older, or, you know, vice president or president or manager or whatever it is, you won't be there tomorrow and you won't be there next year. So appreciate where you are right now and be kind to yourself.
Love you. Love you. Can't wait to work with you on the UnapologeTECH podcast. So
oh, that's another little. So everyone on this panel is actually going to have their own episode on UnapologeTECH, keeping it real. They will have a solid 50 minutes to drop jewels, notes, and tell you about their full journey. So stay tuned and subscribe.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Karen Washington.
Know thyself.
Yes.
Know your strengths, know your areas of opportunity, have emotional intelligence, stay positive, and do you. Let your life reflect everything good.
And Leah McGowen-Hare.
First, I need to make sure all y'all are picking up what they putting down here. All y'all picking this up, all right? I would go along with what Kalina said more. Stay grounded in gratitude. I know you have all heard the saying, you know, not that I agree with the saying, but, you know, stop crying else I'm going to give you something to cry about. Yeah. Well, my thing is keep being grateful and you're going to get more to be grateful for. So constantly stay grounded in gratitude, even when it seems very difficult, even when it's in those jobs you don't like or working with the people you may not like, or when you find the joy in that or find the gratitude, it opens up new opportunities. So don't bemoan where you are, but find the gratitude in those moments.
Oh my God, you guys, that was so powerful. And I said that was the last question. Okay, but I didn't tell the truth because I got one more. And this is really starting off where we started off earlier about being of service. And this platform, while we are here to give knowledge to everybody, I need to know from each and every one of you, how can I support you? How can I use this platform to support you? And Leah, how can I support you?
I would encourage everybody to go to trailhead.com, start an account. It's free, and just find a path to learn. Go and learn something new every day, even if it isn't Trailhead. Always stay learning.
Okay, thank you, Leah. Karen, how can we support you?
I would say go to Microsoft Careers. We are looking for great talent, and it's a great company to work for, especially if you want to be a learn it all, not a know it all. And also for Sheryl, how you can support me is just continue to be a great friend, a great mentor, a great coach, and just a beautiful love and love.
Thank you, baby. Thank you. Thank you. Kalina, how can we support you?
Yeah, I have two things. So Asana is hiring. It's a wonderful culture. We're promoting diversity and inclusion. Go to Asana Careers and see what you have there. But also on my note, I have UnapologeTECH, which is a movement. I'm trying to uplift and amplify women of color voices that are in technology and turn that platform into a community where we can actually increase the diversity numbers and get you where you need to be. So I would say go to Unapologetic. It's spelled UnapologeTECH.com and subscribe to stay up to date.
Wonderful. Thank you. Mary, how can we support you?
So two things. You can support me by helping me continue to prepare the workforce of the future, all these wonderful underrepresented Black and Brown youth through our virtual internship program. And so for you, Sheryl, I want you to have me back with some of the graduates from the program and let these kids do this show with some of those kids so that we're profiling them. And then for everybody else to go to our website, theexcellentLifeCenter.org. and join and sign up and tell kids that we're enrolling for this summer, the summer cohort, and we do pay a stipend for everyone who completes the program and does the final project, which is like a Shark Tank type presentation. And just like all of you said, I will be reaching out to all of you to be master mentors because it's all virtual. And so that's what we want to do, is make sure that we are getting these kids ready to be successful. Many of them are the first ones to graduate from high school, let alone get into college. And we need to support them. They don't have that support system, and we're putting it together for them.
So I want to say to you ladies, for me, thank you so much again for just trusting me and going on this journey and sharing your knowledge and wisdom. My goal this year is to reach 50 million women. I've had a lot of people tell me, Sheryl, that's an audacious goal. But anybody on this panel that knows me, I'm an audacious kind of girl. And so I'm going to get there. And the way that I get there is with you. And the way that I get there is doing what we do. I'm a firm believer that when we come together, we can move mountains. So I'm always here to support you. I have a network. This platform and what I'm doing is all about being fit, but I connect dots. And anytime I can connect you and build, trust me, I have millennials. I have Fit for the Future, which is all millennials and Gen Z and Gen Y. Mary, if you need, we cross collaborate. You don't need to go recreate the wheel. How can I share the interns that I'm bringing in with you? If you need help and you need hiring, Karen, tap into my resource. I have a lot of young women that are looking for jobs. And Leah, the women that I'm looking to learn. I'm putting together a training program. Maybe I include Trailblazer as a part of that curriculum for them to learn more, because they're all looking and they're aspiring and they're looking to us. And Kalina, if I can feed you more people to put you into UnapologeTECH, then let's do that. That's community currency to me. And that's how we move the pendulum forward and we stop having conversations that don't serve us. Let's stop talking about the past and let's start being about the future. And it starts right now. With that said, I hope everybody enjoyed this conversation. And please do tune in to next time. We're going to make it even better and more intense. So thank you. I can't say it enough. God bless everybody. Have a fabulous weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Nice meeting you.
Happy Friday.
Yes.
Happy Friday.